What the actual hell is wrong with Tracy Dion? I need to read this in the comfort of my own space before I lost my ever-loving mind. The Order is playing checkers and Nick is playing chess here. I can't do it anymore. I'm so tired. And we're still at the fucking Gatsby house. Like, why are we still here dealing with this? Because she doesn't even know you, sir. She doesn't even... I need to go down to hell myself and make sure that Martin Davis is rotting. This man is sick. You know, it's not a Legendborn book if like all of these magical beings aren't trying to kill Bree. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new, if you're not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and guys, today is the day. Today is the day that you know I've been waiting for because I've been very annoying about my wait for this book. I am finally going to start my read of Oathbound. Did I say Oathbound? I'm starting my read of Oathbound today. I'm trying to like contain my excitement. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm not fully awake yet. I just woke up. It's a Tuesday, bright and early. It's the day that the book releases, today. But I actually got this book early. Because of my job, so I haven't started it yet though, but it's just been like taunting me to start it, and I'm officially doing it today. I've been holding off reading it until release day, and I've also been rereading Legendborn and Bloodmarked in the meantime. I literally just finished my reread of Bloodmarked last night, and let me tell you, I needed that. As you guys know, I have reread Legendborn several times. However, Bloodmarked I haven't touched since I read it the first time back when it released 3 years ago. I needed the reread very bad because I remember even when I was in the middle of reading it how confused I was about certain things, but I never picked it back up because that ending is so traumatizing and heartbreaking that I couldn't do it. Because of the release of this bad boy right here, I picked it back up, I reread it, I finished my reread last night, and oh wow, what a time. I think I understand some things better. I hope I do, and if not, then I hope to have it explained to me more in this one. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if we're gonna pick up right where we left off in like the last scene. I don't know if it's gonna be like a little bit of a time jump. I know, because my friend told me this, that there are going to be multiple POVs in this book, and I don't know what to expect from that. Like, she said there are going to be several POVs, like at least 4 or 5. I don't know what to make of that. I'm scared. I'm just scared in general going into this. I don't know if you can tell. I'm trying to like be normal about it. I'm actually very terrified. This book is so big. This book is huge. I think this is like 150 pages more than the previous one, and then Bloodmarked was like 100 or so more pages more than Legendborn. So we're gonna keep upping the ante here, Miss Tracy Dion. I see you. However, you also terrify me with what you could possibly do with how many pages? 600 something pages. But I have like a little bit of downtime to just like read and give you guys my thoughts and everything. So yeah, I guess this is where we get started. Oh, also, my job also got like some merch for the book too. I got a magnet. Very random, because I don't have any, like, I don't really use magnets. I was low-key expecting like the merch to come with the book being like a pen or something, but a magnet's fine too because it's a very pretty magnet. I just wasn't expecting that. So okay, this is where I leave you to start Oathbound. I'm so nervous, guys. I'm so nervous. Let's start. This is my read of Oathbound. Let's begin. Alright, it's a few hours later. I have to get to work, but I did promise I would talk to you guys before I leave. I'm like this far in, which is little to nothing, 50 pages. I haven't spent this whole entire time reading. I did take a nap because I just was really tired when I woke up. But what I have to say now that I'm like, I don't know, on chapter 5, 6, I think chapter 6. I don't know, the beginning of this book's like The way that the chapters are numbered is with the Roman numerals. If you have stuck around in my videos long enough, you know that I can't read Roman numerals to save my life. So I'm assuming that this is chapter 6. Bree is in way over her head, which is how I feel most of the time, which is why I worry for her a lot. I understand her whole thing is about being in control all the time and having a say in what happens to her. Like, that's valid. That's a valid thing to want, to demand. But you just made a bargain with like this demon king. Like, slow your roll. Like, she immediately started like giving orders and he was like, girl. Because she's so angry, the way that he comes back at her so calm is kind of funny, because he knows like she can't do anything. And I think she just started to realize, like I said, I'm 50 pages in. It took her this long to realize, oh wait, I don't have any control here. Oops. What did I do? And like, this always happens. This is something that happened over and over again in Bloodmark, where Bree decided to do something and then realized, wait, that wasn't the right decision. I need her to like slow down and think things through. Well, I guess it's too late now because she already made the bargain with this man, which, by the way, the bargain, what he did was not fair. Did I expect a demon king to play fair when it comes to bargaining? No, because that's how we got ourselves in this mess anyways with Vera. But the way that this bargain was handed out, it was basically Bree demanded that if she go with him, that he, one, give Cell to his mother so he can turn back to normal, whatever. And then the other was to make her strong enough to know how to use her power so she can never be used again. And those are two demands for her to go with him willingly. He did one of those things. He took Cell back and then he brought her. He didn't give a second bargain to her second bargain. So like, as soon as she was like, yeah, make me powerful, he didn't have anything else to like trade for that, or he didn't say what he wanted in return yet. So she's kind of just stuck with him until he feels like telling her what the other end of the bargain is. And I think that's crazy. I think, you know, like, she's suffered enough. Why do we need to trick her? You know, like, she's lost everything at this point. Give my girl a break. Like, I don't know. I just feel like every time someone swindles Bree out of happiness, or she makes a decision that makes me literally want to facepalm, I'm just like, oh my God, can we just let her be? Can we just let this 17-year-old girl breathe? Like, oh my God. His children, I'm gonna assume that these are his kids, Zoel, I guess, and Elijah. I have no thoughts on them. I think Zoe is a little bit too excited to eat Bree. What happened to hi, hello, my name is? What happened to that, you know? But Elijah, he just seems like he's along for the ride, and he's very obedient towards the Shadow King, which makes me a little bit nervous because Zoe seems a little bit rebellious as to what the Shadow King tells them to do, while Elijah is very much like, yes sir, no sir. Could be a good thing or a bad thing in this case. So we'll have to see about that. So I'm still in like the prologue area. I wanted to like leave it, but I didn't know how long the prologue was. The fact that this is like 6 chapters in a prologue is kind of funny because the story hasn't even started yet and I'm already getting a little bit overwhelmed. But that's the story of my life reading Tracy Deonn. I will say, every time this bargain is explained between Vera, the ancestors, this demon, it never gets easier to read because I don't fully understand it still. I thought rereading Bloodmarked I'd be able to get it, and maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm about to lay out how I think this went based off of what I've read, because the Shadow King explained it again in this book, which I appreciated. Even though I just got done reading Bloodmarked, I needed another explanation from his point of view. So Vera made a deal with her ancestors to make sure that her descendants after her would be protected from the Order and Legendborn and could have all of the power that they needed to protect themselves. Right. I guess the one thing that they take away from this bargain is once the daughter reaches the age of getting like her powers, her mother dies, and that's like usually at 16. So like every daughter after Vera will lose a mother very young. That's the price of the bargain that Vera made. Now, how the Shadow King came into this, the way he describes it, he was just kind of there, waiting it out, seeing what was going on, and then he hopped onto the bargain. And Vera didn't even know. And because like this was, I guess, a bargain that was done without a contract, he can just do that. And I think that's crazy. Like, no matter how many times they explain this to me, it doesn't make sense I mean, it does, but it doesn't. Because, like, did Vera not feel a blood marked thing? And I mean, I guess she did it because no one knew about the blood marked thing until Bree. Like, no one before her knew about it. So I guess Vera didn't, but that's still so weird to me. I don't know. And then the way that the Shadow King made it seem, he was like, I blood marked her so that I can finally kill Arthur, and with Arthur I can kill the rest of his knights, and I can kill him through Bree, which is like, okay, something about this, it feels like kind of weird. I don't know, like there has to be some loophole here, because the way that it was handled was very not fair. In no case scenario, Bree wins this, and it's making me very nervous. Bree's ancestors gave her powers to protect her from the Order. The Shadow King also gave her protection from like demons in general. All right, cool. Every time this oath, this bargain, this deal, whatever you want to call it, is explained, it just never fully like translates in my brain because it's so layered. The way that this deal was done out of straight up fear. Like, if we go back to the reason of why Vera made this deal, it's very horrific and dark. And of course, a demon's like, you know what I can do? I can use that. It makes me so mad. Anyway, yeah, I have to go to work. I'm like talking too much. I need to leave right now. I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully I've read a little bit of it at work. Y'all. Hi. It's hours later. I'm back from work and I have a lot to say. A little over 100 pages in. I'm on chapter 6. Tracy Dion is such a crazy person. Because what do you mean, Natasha? I think that's how you pronounce her name. Natasha, whatever. Selwyn's mom has her own chapters. Like they're in her point of view. Kind of. That's crazy. Just wanted to put that out there first and foremost. Because what? Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Because we need to know how Sel is doing. And we can't get a point of view through him because he's like succumbed to the demon or whatever. So it makes sense. I just wasn't expecting to get her point of view. I got to that part at work and I had to walk away. I was very gagged. Valak, hey buddy, mesmering William without his consent. I understand why. I'm not getting on him for the reasoning behind it. It's just like, wow, is that what we're doing now? Is this who we are? Granted, he felt bad for it, but like, that's so messed up. Especially to poor old William. Like, out of all the characters, William? Okay. Oh, there was one thing that was mentioned. I think it was from William, because him, Nick, and Lark are trying to create a plan to get these two back, right? And they were just like, how do you know if they're alive? And for Bree, you know that Bree is alive if they can still use their aether, or else all of the lines of Arthur would be closed off. So that's how they found out Bree was alive. Nick had a very strong emotional reaction when he felt Sel's need to murder someone, and he was like, I think Sel's alive. I felt him trying to murder someone, and I'm very happy about that. And I can't stress enough that I am very excited to get a Nick point of view. I don't know if we're getting one. I feel like it would make sense if we did, but I need one really bad, because I would love to see how Nick views Sel and his responses to how Sel feels, because I don't know, I think that's interesting. Just like how I thought it was interesting while reading Bloodmarked and rereading it the second time, how Sel reacts to Nick's emotions and his fear through their oathbound bond. I think that that's interesting, and I don't know if we're gonna get that in Nick's perspective or not, because so far we've been seeing it through William's perspective. But overall, just like the way that Sel and Nick are connected, that's always been very interesting to me. Like their connection as like a scion and a king's mage, because there's something underneath that I don't know if we're gonna touch on yet. I don't know, something about it, especially the way that Nick was defending Sel when Lark was like getting on him, which, by the way, Lark, please step back. You are new here. You don't know nothing about my family. Like, why is he judging like everyone and everything? Like, for example, when William, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, there are gonna be spoilers in here. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's too late at this point, but yeah, spoilers all throughout this vlog, so sorry. But anyway, William made the good executive decision to send Alice with Valak and Mariah and Lucille and Hazel. Lark was like, what do you mean you did this? How could you invite them here? Them. Oh, I felt like he was about to call them a slur. And I know that's a jump, but I don't like his tone when referring to Valak and Mariah and Lucille. I don't like that at all. Like, because what's wrong with you? Let William make the decisions. He's like kind of the only level-headed one working right now. I don't know how long that's gonna last though, because once he finds out that Valak mesmered him, all gloves might be off. But I don't know. I just feel like they should let William lead. I trust Nick in his judgment, but right now he's scaring me because why is he in prison? A lot has happened, okay? I don't know if I'm making any sense. We have not gotten any Bree chapter in a while, and I'm kind of scared for her. Last time I saw Bree, her memory was wiped of all the people that she cared about. Having to see all of these people scramble to find her, she's not gonna remember them. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm just going through a lot. I'm going through a lot, and that's it. Also, we got a chapter in Mariah's point of view. Not what I was expecting. And I loved her chapter. I loved her chapters, because so far we've gotten to, I'm sure we're going to get more. And I'm very excited. I think Mariah has been a really good side character, but I'm very excited to also see her point of view with how things are going, because she said it herself. She's just a medium. She's no warrior, so she has no idea what's really happening or how to defend herself. She's kind of just like there for moral support. And sometimes we need characters like that to have their own point of view chapter. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm just having a really good time. Valak says like he's gonna go get Sel and Bree. Good luck with that. Everything about this situation has me on edge, because I seriously don't know how they're gonna get Bree out of this. I don't know how they're going to save Sel, or if there is a way to save Sel. But then again, that's not really up to them. That's up to his mother, which, by the way, I don't know how to feel about Natasha Kane because we don't know anything. So I'm going to leave my thoughts, I'm going to keep them close to my chest until I get more on her, because her point of view really just like came out of nowhere for me. I was kind of gagged, still am gagged, and I think I'm going to stop for the night. Like, I would lie and say I'm going to read more, but I'm not lying. I don't want to lie to you. I've gotten over 100 pages in. That was my goal for today, and I have a headache, so I'm not reading anymore. I will talk to you guys more tomorrow. Hi guys. It's been a few hours since I got back home from work, and I just woke up from a nap. I'm in the mood to continue reading, but I need to tell you guys where I'm at because a lot is going down and I feel like I can't continue until I let you know my thoughts. I'm at part 2, Unstoppable, whatever that means. I don't know. I'm like kind of scared to move on. I think I need to just take a nap because when I got home, let's just be clear, I barely did anything at my job except for read. And I think all of what I read made me emotionally drained to the point where I just had to take a nap as soon as I got home. Let me tell you what's going on. Okay, so I'm gonna say it again, and I know I've said it before, but that's not gonna change the fact that I'm still gagged by it. Natasha having her own point of view, like it's officially a point of view now. We're out of the audio log entries, we're officially in her point of view now. It's never gonna not gag me. Like the fact that we're actually seeing her in the flesh and Sel is talking to her now. Okay, I know I've said this before, but having Mariah be like a main character in this, chef's kiss. One thing I do like about her is that because she is like a side character, she sees Bree as the chosen one. Granted, Bree is technically like following the chosen one trope, but the fact that Mariah looks up to her so much, and almost like, I'm not gonna lie, everyone in this book is taking a page out of Bree's handbook when it comes to like being a boss ass bitch. Not just Mariah, but I'll get to that in a second. Valak has a plan to get Bree out of whatever she's in, and Mariah's like, I'm tagging along, and he's like, I don't know about that, and she's like, I'm tagging along, not taking no for an answer, because she knows that if Bree were here and the roles were reversed, she would do it. You see how Bree has impacted all of these characters' lives in a way that's just oh my god. Now let's get on to Nick. We haven't gotten Nick's point of view yet, and I feel like it's not necessarily needed because he's serving from third parties. Like every time I see Nick, it's usually in William's point of view, and from the way William is describing Nick's demeanor and the way that he's carrying himself, it's full of a bunch of resentment and anger, and that's how he's moving so far in this book, and I couldn't be happier. There was a part in the book, and I made a note of it because I was, again, gagged as hell. Also, every time I have something to say, I'm adding it to like my storygraph notes, because on storygraph I'm doing like a buddy read with a few of my mutuals. You should follow me on storygraph, by the way, if you haven't. but like all of our thoughts were put in like this like chat feature. And when I got to the part where Nick called a trial or whatever, I don't know what it's called, I think it's like a curia, I think. Nick is like, he's kind of serving in this book. I don't know if there are Nick haters, but if there are, I don't know how you could hate him in this book. He said everything that needed to be said in like the span of 10 pages, called out the order for their bigotry, racism, misogyny, and their need to hide behind their whiteness in order to get stuff done. Cleared. There's nothing else to say. There's no more back talk. They were left speechless, as they should be. He not only told them that to their face, but he demanded that they let him go on like a knight's quest or whatever. And he says it's to find like the Morgan people. I feel like he's not lying. I feel like part of his plan is having to do with like the Morgan people, but it's obvious that he's going on this night quest to go find Cell and Bree. He obviously can't say that, but like we know. I don't need to be in his point of view to know he's scheming, he's plotting. The Order is playing checkers and Nick is playing chess here. He literally, like, they were too stunned to speak because they knew that they couldn't say no to him, because if they didn't, they would be going against their oath. Oh my god. Nick has been plotting since like the first chapter, and you gotta respect him for it. Whether you like Nick or not, this right here, this is how I feel like we should be moving, because a lot of people in this book, they're too panicked so far to do anything. Nick had the concepts of a plan and he followed through and executed with ease. I think the only thing that he wasn't expecting was for William to come with him and Lark. I don't think he's about that, but you know what? Just take the win while you can, because he's free to go and they can't kill him. So I think that's a win. Alice is making me sad. The way that Mariah described it, because Mariah went into like, I don't know, Alice's consciousness to try to figure out why she hasn't been waking up. And it's literally because Alice keeps on replaying that moment before Bree kind of kills her and tries to figure out if she had done something differently, would the outcome have changed. And she's been doing that. They said it's been like, what, 2 months since Bree and Cell disappeared? She's been doing that for 2 months while she's been unconscious. Just trying to replay the moment to figure out if something has been different, and that's why she's not waking up. But apparently death is like getting close. So I need my girl to wake up. She's making me sad. She's making me scared. I don't like this feeling. I know that she's not gonna die. Let's just be clear. Alice isn't getting killed off. I do think someone is gonna die in this book though. I don't want to wish any of that into existence though, so I'm not gonna name anyone. I'm not gonna put out any theories. I feel like the way the dark tone of this book is, someone's definitely making an appearance in the afterlife. And you know what? If we gotta take losses, we gotta take losses. If it's to get Bree back, we're gonna have to take losses. But please don't let it be Alice. I don't think it is. I don't think it's gonna be her. I think when she comes back, she's gonna have like some weird aether powers. I don't think anything besides that though, because the way that she's been existing, like in some weird sort of limbo, simply because she, one, refuses to die, and two, because she has aether powering her. I think she's gonna wake up with some form of like magical ability. What it is gonna be, I have no idea, but that's like my one and only theory that I have about what's going on with her, because she's not dying. I refuse. Also, the fact that it's been like 2 months since those two disappeared, kind of crazy, because what are the parents thinking? I feel like we don't get on the fact that like all of this has been happening in the span of like, Nick said 6 months since the start of the first book up until this point. I'm sure the parents are stressed as hell, specifically Bree's and Alice's. What are they doing? What are they doing to find their kids? Because I'm sure like the excuse being like, oh, your kid is so busy, your kid is like being a scholar, focusing on exams, that excuse can only get the school so far. What are they saying to these parents to get them to like not worry about their kid? I highly doubt Bree has been keeping in contact with her dad because she's too busy forgetting that he exists, and Alice is unconscious. I'm worried for the parents. I feel bad for the parents because they have no idea what their kids are going through. Like, Bree's dad doesn't even know that her kid went across the world to like England for 5 minutes and is back in like some demon man's like home. He doesn't even know what's going on. He doesn't know anything about this, and neither does Alice's parents. But I feel like it's worse for Bree's dad in this circumstance because he was unaware the entire time. Like the entire time that his wife was a root crafter and that his daughter is one and that she is the chosen one. I think for him it's like worse. For Alice's parents, they don't know that their daughter has been in a coma for 2 months. So maybe, I don't know. I want the parents to be unharmed. I don't want them to know what's going on, but the fact that they don't know and that I don't know what they're doing to find their kids is making me anxious. I'm sure that Bree's dad is going to make an appearance at some point, just to be like, hey, so where's my daughter at? And I'm sure that Alice's parents are going to make an appearance too. But for right now, I'm like scared for both of them. What else do I have to say? The Nick scene with him in that trial, it's been playing in my head all day. All day. I don't know how to move on. Like, he ate them up. He was cuffed and everything, had no power. A Merlin went after him. And he won the battle. And apparently he was holding back too. He didn't even have to use all his strength. He not only gagged the order, took down a Merlin, but he also got what he wanted and is going on a quest to find Bree and Sel. Big Nick, not the little one. Not the little one. Talk nice to him, please. However, I fear because he is leading this quest with a whole lot of vengeance and resentment and anger, he's going to do something that he's not proud of. I mean, he's already killed someone, and he said that he wasn't proud of that. But I feel like it's only going to get worse because he's going to do whatever he can to get these two back. Whatever that is, it's up in the air. But yeah. Nick, I've always loved Nick, but the newfound respect I have for him for saying all of that, yeah. Nothing more to add. Also, Sel talking for once to his mother, and at the mention of Bree being, well, he didn't say that Bree was the heir of Arthur or whatever, but as soon as like it was briefly like mentioned, you could tell that he was fighting his demon instincts when even thinking about Bree. They don't write romance like this anymore. They don't. And you could tell it was like right before part 2. It was like on the page before I got to part 2. He was like smiling at the thought of her, but then he was also trying to like, I don't know, control himself. He was like, and Natasha even saw it. She was like, are you good? Which, by the way, I still think it's crazy as a concept that if things worked out and the order didn't go after Sel's mom and Bree's mom didn't end up dying when the time came, that Bree and Sel would have been like friends, possibly like childhood friends. I don't know. It kind of gives you like, I don't know, invisible string. Just a little bit. And I'm not even like a hardcore shipper. I say, as if like I'm not going to be talking about Bree and Sel throughout this entire video. But I also, like I said, really love Nick. I'm seriously not like a hardcore shipper of either relationship. However, the Bree and Sel moments in Bloodmarked really did send me over the edge, and I think that's where my heart is. That's where my heart is going. But I could go either way. Yeah, is there anything else? No. I know I was saying like how long this book is. It hasn't really felt like it. It honestly feels like I'm watching a show, because you know how like in shows there's like usually like an overarching plot and a B plot going on. Because of all of the different points of views and everyone being in different places, it feels like I'm watching a show. And I think that that's really well done. Like the stuff that William is going through with Nick, that's its own thing. But then you have Mariah as well going through her own stuff, and then we have Sel and his mother in a cabin in the Appalachian Mountains. All of these three things are so like far apart, but you know that once the ending comes around, ooh, I feel like I'm watching a really, really good show. It's going by fast. The fact that I'm already like 20% in is kind of crazy, because it does not feel like that, because nothing has really happened yet. I feel like part 2 is when we're gonna get crazy though. So yeah, I'm going to read. I'll talk to you guys maybe tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. I feel like you guys are really far. Ignore my hair. I have been on and off napping all day because it's my day off and I can do what I want. But I have been reading as well. Not as much as I would like, if I'm being honest. I'm gonna try to read some more later in the day because I have to be somewhere soon. But let me tell you where I'm at. Chapter 17. Like I said, I haven't read that much. It's only a few chapters into part 2. But one thing I will say, I really love so far how this book is highlighting how much Bree wants to find her identity outside of what her history and what her ancestors planned for her. And being with Zoe and Elijah kind of is helping her do that, even if it is her being with them against her will. Like, them at this club, I don't know what this club meeting thing is. It's kind of scaring me a bit. But before things got serious, because things did take a turn for the worse real quick, they were having a conversation about like who Bree's into, what she likes. And because she can't remember anyone in her life and who she has been with and who she's had like crushes on in the past, she's a blank slate when it comes to that stuff. And so she's like, I like people. And they're like, okay. And they didn't even question it. They were like, all right. And then they proceeded to say what they were into. And it was just like a very nonchalant thing. And I think Bree in that moment realized that like in her life, there are things that she still has a choice in. Since the series has started, she has just been kind of like thrusted into it. Now, some of it was her choice, but for the most part, everything that has happened to her has kind of been against her will. So she's like, wow, when it comes to like who I am, who I like, I have a choice in that, amongst other things. Again, I hate that she's in this deal with this demon king, but her like being separated from all of that for a second and being in this space, like kind of a safe space with these random teenagers that are around her age that are kind of in the same predicament as her, it's letting her realize that she has a choice, and that's a beautiful thing. Also, I do think it's ironic because Nick did say, like back in part 1, that he's happy that Bree is stuck with this demon. He knows that if she were back in the Order, they would torture her more than the demon would. I don't have to say anything about that. That speaks for itself. I never really disliked Elijah and Zoe. I think that they're fine characters, but getting to know them a little bit more, the fact that it took 3 months for them to warm up to Bree and her presence and her kind of being favored by the Shadow King makes sense, considering that they explained that they've been with him for a minute due to their own parents and stuff. But yeah, getting to actually know them and the fact that they also feel safer with demons than humans because of how humans judge all of the things that don't really make sense. Like the fact that I think Zoe confirmed that she is trans, and she was like, the demons don't really care about that. They care about power. But when I talk to humans, they're always like looking at me some type of way, and it's like really annoying. So I just hang with the demons just because I only got to worry about one thing, whereas with the humans I have to worry about like several different things having to do with my own person. And also they're cambions, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like it's the thing that Balak is. I think they're balanced. I can't tell. Honestly, when it comes to like the titles that these creatures have, I'm always lost. I know what a cambion is. It's like a half demon. I don't really know the extent of how much they're balanced or unbalanced. I would say they're unbalanced based off of how Zoe acts, but I think she's just unhinged like that. I don't think she's like unbalanced by any. I think she's just, that's her personality, which is fine. I think this whole entire part is going to be in Bree's point of view. At least I hope so. We really went like 200 pages without her point of view. So I'm glad that it feels like home when I'm back with Bree in her mind, because I've been worried for her. And I still am. For me, so far, it's been an easy read. I'm not really confused about anything. I'm kind of just taking in everyone's situations as I go along, and I'm just like, wow. It's a rhetorical question, but like, how did we get here? How is everyone going through it? How is everyone in distress at the same time? No one's having a good time. That's crazy. All right, hi, let's discuss. I am on chapter 23. What the hell is going on? I need, and I can't stress this enough, I need to make sure. I need to go down to hell myself and make sure that Martin Davis is rotting, burning, that his core is like ashes. I need to make sure that he will never know peace down there. I need to make sure that the devil is dealing with him, because I just read the point of view chapter from William's perspective, and he gave the flashback of how Nick was handling Bree's uncovering of her being the scion of Arthur or whatever. It was like, what was it? It was the moment right after Bree collapsed after saving them in the cave in the first book. If you know, you know. And it's when everyone finds out that he is the scion of Lancelot and she is the scion of Arthur. Everything goes black, and then it cuts to like Bree waking up days later, Nick being kidnapped, whatever. This flashback scene was in the middle of this, and it was when Bree was in one of the hospital rooms in the lodge, and William was looking over her, and Nick would not leave her bedside. Or maybe it was like in Nicholas's room. I don't remember. And this is in William's point of view because William is facing so much guilt for not knowing about Nick's childhood or knowing about how much he's been suffering in silence for so long. And to that, I have to say, William, it's okay. And like, I don't think he gives himself enough credit. I don't think any of these people would make it far without William. I know they wouldn't. No doctor on site, they're screwed anyway. But like, even without his healing abilities, none of them would be able to get as far as they have. I genuinely feel like the glue that holds all of these characters together. And I think he puts so much pressure on himself to make sure that everyone is doing fine physically and mentally that he never checks in with himself. And so all of this guilt that he's feeling at this memory of Nick being at Bree's bedside and spilling out his guts about his childhood and what it was really like, and what his father, Martin Davis, rotting in hell, what Martin did to Nick in Cell, and having them fight growing up, and having like Nick constantly have to like fight these grown adult lieges and these adults that are beating him up constantly, and William's cousin having to come over and heal Nick and not tell anyone. And it's just like, it's crazy because that moment, I guess, rewired William's brain chemistry and made him realize that he's going to stand by Nick no matter what because of how much guilt he feels and not knowing any of this was going on. He had no idea that Nick and Cell were basically being tortured since they were kids in order to properly train to be like a king's mage and the scion of Arthur. That's not proper training though. That's child abuse. That was an emotionally draining chapter, and I don't even think I'm making sense. But I'm coming on here to talk about the fact that all of these characters need to go to therapy. I'm glad Bree has a therapist, though she hasn't seen her in 3 months. So I know my girl is suffering so bad right now. Granted, maybe not, because she doesn't remember anyone. No pain, no gain. But the other characters, when I say Nick needs to be meeting up with a psychiatrist, I'm so serious. After this whole mission Knight's Quest thing is done, he needs to be front row in there. So does William. So do all of these legend-born kids. Hell, I'd even say the Squires, the Pages, all of these kids that grow up in this environment. I need you guys to understand. I need them to be looked at by professionals. They're not okay. No one's doing okay. Nick, I seriously worry for him and his psyche, because his whole life he was training to be a scion that he didn't even want, and then to find out that all of that training basically went to waste because it's for the wrong guy. Your dad has been torturing you since birth to be the scion of this man that's not even yours. Mind you, the next moment after this flashback is when his dad kidnaps him. Nicholas can never catch a fucking break. None of these kids can ever catch a fucking break. And then when Cell walks into the room and he's somehow the only one who can calm Nick down. I can't stress enough, the dynamic between Nick and Cell, one of my favorite things in this series. Like, to observe the way that although they don't like each other, they know each other so well that they have mutual love and respect for each other, but you have to dig deep in order to actually like see it unfold. It's honestly kind of heartbreaking because all of that love that they have for each other was built in a home that was breaking every 5 seconds, whether it be because they were fighting each other physically at the hands of adults, at the hands of like these racist, bigoted people that were telling them to be someone that they are not made for. They may have this in their blood, but no child is built for this sort of abuse. They somehow found love for each other, as stubborn as they want to refuse that it's not. They definitely found love for each other in that environment, but no kid should be able to live through that. And I don't even think William realizes that he has the same struggles. Like, yes, he did not grow up having to like constantly fight people and like constantly be healed just to fight again like Nick and Cell were, But he was lied to his whole childhood about like the order and their rules, and about how the line of Gawain, is that how you pronounce his line? Whatever. The law of Gawain are about healing people and making sure people are protected and that they feel safe and blah, blah, blah. Just for him to find out that his cousin was out here healing Nick, kid Nick, like 9-year-old Nick, after getting like his ass handed to him by a bunch of adults continuously. His cousin is not shit. Cousin Reese, I just met you. You're gonna be dealt with. Any adult in this situation that has been harming these kids, and the thing is, it's like an endless cycle, because that's all they, like, these people know in the order is just to harm children and make them into mini soldiers that they want to be unfeeling, and they want to make sure that they are able to submit, and just, it's infuriating to me. And the thing is, Nick wasn't even aware of like how his story sounded. Like, he was telling William all of this traumatic stuff that happened to him while holding Bree's hand while Bree is passed out. And he's like, but this is not about me, this is about Bree. I'm telling you all of this so you know that this is not even like the tip of the iceberg, because he's mostly worried about what Arthur is going to do to Bree. That's what Arthur did to him as a kid. Him being supposedly a descendant of Arthur is what made his upbringing like that. But now that Bree is now the descendant of Arthur, or always was the descendant of Arthur, she's going to have a worse upbringing, and I don't want her to go through that. That was his whole point of telling that story. But I don't even think he told it so nonchalantly that I don't even think he realizes how messed up it is. Like, he says he does. I don't believe him. I don't think he understands that this is a mess. Like, this is crazy. I'm getting upset on all of these kids' behalf. Like, like, they're all so young. They're only like, what, 16, 18-year-olds? Anyway, yeah, I'm heated. I'm so heated. I don't know how to continue. And then, like, the thing that sent me over the edge, like, the flashback ended with Sel being the one to, again, comfort Nick, and he told William to leave, and William left knowing that Sel would be the one to know how to take care of both Nick and Bree in that moment. And Sel's not here. And everything's falling apart. Oh, I can't do it anymore. I'm so tired. Tracy Dion. Oh, I cracked my back. That felt great. Yeah, we gotta fix this. We gotta put the big three back together. The fact that they've been separated this long is actually making, like, me very sad. I need some type of reunion, because I'm not even halfway into the book, so I know it's not coming anytime soon. But the fact that Bree can't remember them, Nick is on a scavenger hunt to find them, Sel is still, like, in his moody era of not knowing who he is as a demon or a human, and not wanting to interact with anyone because he doesn't trust himself around anyone. I just need them to figure out how to bring us back together, because I can't do it anymore. I'm so stressed. I'm gonna continue reading. My goal is to get halfway into the book by the end of the night. I'm close to half. This is sick. I'm so tired. Ugh. Someone's gonna have to confirm or deny. Granted, I think I already know what's going on. I'm pretty sure Natasha and Bree just crossed paths. Now, what is Natasha doing up in, like, the demon den, going to meet with Deza? I don't know. I'm assuming it's to get something for Sel, but that was crazy. And here's the thing, right? Even if Bree had memories of, like, who she knew before all of this, she wouldn't know that this is Natasha anyway, because she's never seen Natasha, like, in person before, I think. Has she seen Natasha? Maybe in, like, that memory that her mom put in the bracelet in the first book, she saw, like, a flashback of Natasha, but I don't even think she saw, like, a clear image of her. So, like, even if she knew anything, she still wouldn't know that this is Sel's mom that she's talking to. And that's crazy, because Natasha didn't do anything. She kind of just let her continue to go. And she's gonna tell Sel, and Sel's gonna lose his fucking mind. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. Let's get into it. Hi guys. Sorry for the shit lighting, I think it looks fine. And sorry for the audio, because I'm sure you guys can hear, like, background sounds. My dad is having a party downstairs by himself and blasting the loudest music known to man. So I'm so sorry about that. But I need to talk to you guys about this book. I am not that much farther than where I was last night. I tried to read during work. I tried multiple times, and it's not that anything got in my way. It's just that I kept getting flustered and hyperventilating that I couldn't get much farther. I needed to read this in the comfort of my room. I needed to read this in the comfort of my own space before I lost my ever-loving mind. So where am I? I'm at part 3 right now. The way that part 2 ended, this gala scene where I'm sure everything's gonna hit the fan. This is the scene, I'm sure, where everyone is gonna come head to head and cross paths with each other, and I'm not ready for that. I'm not prepared. Nothing prepared me. I'm sure Tracy Deonn felt like the lead up to this, the build up to it was like long enough, but I feel like it could have been longer. Granted, I don't think anything could have prepared me for this. The fight scene between Nick and Bree, one thing y'all should know about me, I love a good sparring scene between like love interests in a romantasy. Not saying that this is romantasy, but it's usually found in romantasy books where like the two love interests are fighting each other to get out like tension or whatever. And though that's not the reason behind this fight, I was like kicking, screaming, crying, throwing up at work. I needed to like put the book down. I needed to put the book down. And as soon as Nick recognized her, I literally screamed, I can't do this. I have still this much left. I'm only like 55% into the book right now. I feel like I need to like scream to get out my feelings. And the fact that right after that, we finally got a chapter in Nick's point of view, and it's from like months ago, where he's talking to his cousin, and his cousin explains the powers of Lancelot. And he's like, yeah, Lancelot's visions, they only come to a descendant who he feels like needs to take over for Arthur when he's not like following his leadership duties or whatever. It was something along those lines. I don't know. I feel like I kind of blacked out at some point. I think that's what he said. And I'm just here barely holding on. And I don't, I'm so scared to continue reading, but I feel like in order to continue reading, I need to like talk to you guys about how I'm feeling. And I don't even know if I'm making any sense. What else can I say? Before the gala, William decided that he and Lark need to go to the Institute to figure out some things because Nick has a plan to go with the Morgans. And then we never got a follow up with that plan, like at all, until we cut to him fighting Bree at this damn gala. And I'm just feeling a little overwhelmed. Like the way that this book is flowing, I'm not going to lie, I love it and I hate it, but that just comes with, I feel like, having multiple point of views, where it's like the writing is great, but the pacing of the story just feels a little bit choppy at some points, because I'm just like, how the hell did we even get here? I need answers. Because the story's not like, it's not even bad. I'm having the time of my life. It's just, it's not flowing the way I wanted to. I need to know what's going on. I'm in everyone's business. I need to know why they're doing this. And I'm sure I'm gonna get my answers. I just have to read the book. But I'm scared. Nick found Bree. Bree found Nick, though Bree doesn't know who Nick is. So I feel like Nick is about to have a whole crash out over Bree not knowing this. Oh my God. And Nick has been like literally losing his mind trying to find Bree and Cell, just for him to reunite with Bree in a fist fight. Oh my God. Yeah, now that I'm talking about it, I need to continue this. I need to see how she's gonna play it. Mind you, I still have this much left. I still have like half of the book left, and I'm feeling this like stressed out. Also, as soon as Natasha found out that Bree was hanging out with demons, she told Cell, and Cell also had a crash out. Almost lost his shit. Whether that was the demon in Cell or just like Cell feeling his feelings for Bree and needing to know where she is, referred to her as mine and as his king. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. I'm on page 356. I really want, I'm gonna finish this book soon. I'm gonna update you guys as much as I can, but at this point in the story where we're picking things up a bit, I feel like I'm gonna need time to just like get into it. But I just wanna let you guys know, those are my thoughts. The levels at which Nick is flirting with her right now is diabolical, because she doesn't even know you, sir. She doesn't even, only like 30 pages further from where I was before. But I just need to say that. And Nick has always been a flirt. Let's just be clear, this is nothing new. But the suave with which he is carrying himself at this event, I'm not gonna lie, I thought his reaction to seeing Bree would be a little bit bigger, grander. He's actually handling himself pretty well, all things considered. But now they're all forced to stay at this place for a weekend, a whole weekend. Mariah found her. Nick found her. Ava has her ass too. And Zoe's like, what's going on? I thought we were just still in the crowd. What happened to the original plot of the movie? Like, I'm sure my sister is so confused right now. Not as confused as Brie, but I'm sure she's super confused right now. The plan has gone awry. We're spending a night in this damn like village of a castle. I don't know. This Michael demon, he made an appearance and I don't feel safe. I feel like this is gonna go wrong. Like more wrong than it already has. They're nowhere close to getting the crown. So, but a whole weekend of just Nick and Brie here, that should be great levels of tension. Because the amount of flirting they're doing already is crazy. Absolutely insane. Just need to get that off my chest before I continue. Because, what? No, this woman is not. I know this woman is not. I repeat, not doing the one bed trope. No, she's not. No, she's not. She's not doing this to me. Granted, I knew it was coming. But this is just crazy. Fake dating for a weekend. Forced proximity. One bed trope. What have I landed myself in reading this? I feel overwhelmed. I feel like I'm being spoiled a bit. This is kind of crazy. And they're still flirting. I'm calm, I swear. I feel like Tracy Deonn just goes into my head and puts what I want on a page. She has to. She knows what I'm thinking. I'm convinced. There's no way. There's no way. Mind you, I hate fake dating. And I hate the one bed trope. However, with these two, in this situation where the stakes are high, oh, please. I feel like I'm being spoiled. I feel like she literally dug through my brain, scooped out Nick and Brie fan service that I have thought of for damn near 3 years and plopped it on a page. This is sick. This is sick. Good morning. It's the next day. I'm on chapter 43. This much to go, guys. I'm so close. I'm honestly, seriously planning on finishing out this book today. We'll see if I actually do. But it's my day off. I have nothing else to do except chill in bed and read. It's still morning. I have time to get through this book. What's going on? Hell if I know. Brie finally told Nick that Erebus is the Shadow King. I don't know what took her so long, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't really get why that was something that she didn't feel the need to tell him. The fact that it took her like this long is actually kind of ridiculous to me, but she did tell him. Like I said, I'm on chapter 43. Some warlocks also just tried to kill Brie. You know, it's not a Legendborn book if like all of these magical beings aren't trying to kill Brie. Literally everyone is her op until proven otherwise, and even then I don't trust most of the people in this book. Zoe knows that she is the sign of Arthur, so I don't know if I mentioned this, but the fact that like the Shadow King can literally like light her up to remind her that she is his property is disgusting. Every time he does that, I want to throw up a little bit. I almost do. Like, back off. You already have this bargain over her head. Reminding her of it constantly by lighting her up is kind of ridiculous. It's like, ugh. Calm down. I will say, the way that Nick keeps on bringing Cell into his conversations with Brie, you can tell that he misses him so bad. And it's actually really cute. I didn't think about this before, but because Cell and Nick are still like oath to each other, they can still feel each other's like strong emotions. Like Cell can feel Nick's fear. Wow, tongue twister. Nick can feel Cell's like intent to murder. So I totally forgot about that. And it's making me wonder, like, since Cell is in kind of full-on demon mode right now, and he's constantly feeling the need to, like, murder someone, I wonder if, like, how that's affecting Nick right now. Maybe that's why it's affecting, like, his attitude a bit in this book, because I know I've said it before, I think I have, but I'm really enjoying Nick in this book because of how, like, different he feels a bit. But now that I think about it, that might just be like Cell's effect on him. I don't know, but interesting. I now want her to tell him that Cell is locked up with his mama in a cabin in the Appalachian Mountains. Like, I don't know, since we're laying it all on the table, I feel like we should like lay it all out on the table. I don't know what the holdup is, especially because Brie knows that Nick has been like fighting with everyone to find both of them. Like, you might as well just tell him. Granted, I don't want Cell to be found, but it'll just put Nick out of his misery. The man has been losing his mind trying to find his people. You got information about where the other one is at. Give it to him. Which, by the way, we haven't had any updates from anyone else's point of view in the last, like, I feel like 100 pages, kind of. Ever since, like, this, like, gala started, I'm only in Bree's point of view, and while I love it here, I do, it's making me so worried about what's going on in the outside world, outside of this Gatsby castle shit. I have, like, I'm assuming less than 200 pages. Scary. Was scary. Okay, let's get into it. Update. I just got an answer to my question that I had like 5 minutes ago. I just needed to be patient and read. Yeah, Nick just confirmed that he's been getting like these murderous feelings through Cell's succumbing to the demon. He's been getting those like daily, which I figured, because I was like, how does the oath work when the Merlin that you're attached to is going through demonia? Like, do you still feel all of his rage? Like, because it's crazy, because Nick is like, I tamp down my fear on purpose so Cell doesn't feel it, and I think Cell has been doing somewhat of the same for years up until this point, because he can't help it, because it's just like, it's what he's succumbed to now. And so I kind of just deal with it on and off. And Bree's like, that's not healthy, buddy. And he's like, well, no, but like, it is what it is. Someone needs to get Nick some help, because the way that he just shrugs off all of this terrible stuff that's happening with him and around him, that's not good. I feel like the way that Cell feels deeply impacts Nick, obviously, but like when it comes to how Nick carries himself in this book, I think it plays a big part in it. And that's not something that he said, but it's just something I feel, because I'm sure Cell is feeling murderous. I mean, he is. He just confirmed. He's like pissed all the time, furious all the time. And I'm sure that's a lot for Nick to carry. Also, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. So that's fun. I like when my theories are right, but at what cost, I don't know. Okay, I feel like I'm never gonna get farther in this book today because I keep on stopping. All of my pauses and updates so far in like the last few minutes have all been from chapter 43. And now I'm on chapter 44, but I need to discuss a bit about what Bree is going through. One thing I love about Tracy Deonn is how she puts these real life circumstances and experiences that all Black girls have into this epic YA Arthurian retelling, having to deal with like demons and magic and all this stuff. But like the root of it is like real problems for Black girls. And it's just, oh, okay, so where should I start? Bree just told Mariah that she lost the ancestral stream or whatever, so she can't talk to Vera or any of her other descendants. She can't connect to Arthur either, which I take as a win, but who am I, you know? And it's just like all of the pressure that comes with wanting to be the one who your ancestors wanted you to be. All of the fight that your ancestors put themselves through so that you can be the greatest version of them. And I feel like a lot of Black people go through this like sense of guilt and pressure to be the best because of all of the fight our moms, our grandparents, our great grandparents, all of these people that came before us had, so we can get to this point. And I don't know, something about chapter 43 like nearly made me start crying. I'm not even gonna lie, I can't. I don't think I can form into words how it's making me feel, but Bree, I get you, sister. I get you. I like the pressure that she's under to be this chosen one, that everyone's looking to her for like guidance when she herself is only like a kid. She's only 17 years old, and she has all of this pressure from not even just like her friends or her family, but also like her ancestors. These like powerful woman that came before her that keep telling her that she knows what she has to do, and she has no idea what she has to do, and she can't look for guidance to anyone else because she is supposed to be the key to a better future for the others that come after her. And it's like really like, and Zoe put it best. What did Zoe say? By the way, I'm really enjoying Zoe as a character. I think she's gonna become one of my favorites in the series, if not already. She said, I don't expect or need all of my ancestors to understand my life, but I think I deserve to live it. I deserve to figure it out. Y'all are both trying to be picture perfect descendants, even though you've only ever lived your life once, and that life has only just gotten started. Talk about an impossible standard. Ooh, I'm not crying this early in the morning. It's not happening. But just know something about chapter 43 hit. Like, all of these updates I've had have been about chapter 43. That was such a good chapter. And don't get it twisted, it has not gone over my head the fact that root crafters are easy targets for demons because no one reports them missing. Wonder why. Anyway, the underlying themes of chapter 43 might make it like top 3 chapters in this entire book. Yeah. And now Bree wants to actually connect with her ancestors again, not out of like fear or want of some like hidden chosen one guidance, but just because she just wants to feel closer to them. Ugh, it's so emotional. What a heavy way to start my morning. But I'm assuming as I get farther into this book, these last like 200 pages are going to be nothing but heavy. So I'm like preparing myself emotionally before I continue. But I just wanted to let you guys know that was a really, really good chapter. That was such a good chapter. These 40s chapters, chapters 40 through 50 might just put me through it. I don't know. I finished chapter 45. I'm in shock, and I don't know why. Nick and Bree, I see the vision. I do see that. I've never not seen the vision. Can't stress that enough. But whatever that scene was, yeah, I see it. It's like beautifully tragic because she really does not know this man. Like, she knows him but doesn't. She remembers him but doesn't. And I'm glad that he didn't take it any farther. I had a feeling that's why he didn't want her touching him and stuff, is because like he knows that to her this is like the glass half full half empty thing. He knows her fully and she barely knows him at all. It would be weird if something did happen between them this weekend, but even like before all of this, at the end of the day, he's still a scion of Lancelot. She's still a scion of Arthur. It still would be like prohibited. Not that either of them care anymore at this point, but like still, no matter how you mix it, you shake it, it's just really tragic. And I root for them. I repeat, I root for them. I just don't know how this is gonna work. Yeah, it's annoying. Like, why can't we just let these kids be in love and happy and not have to fight for their lives every other page? That was another great chapter. I'm just like, I'm in shock. I feel like I'm slowly becoming like desensitized to every emotion that Tracy Deonn throws my way, and I don't know how to feel about any of it, anything. The fact that her one request on their last night together was just for them to be Nick and Bree without having to pretend to be like someone else or pretending like their history wasn't like fill in the blank. It's like, it's so tragic. So sad. My babies don't know peace. No one in this book knows peace. That's a shame. A goddamn shame. Whatever. Alright, we have to talk. I'm upset. And don't mind the Cheesecake Factory in the corner. I got food, but that's not important. Before I dive into my meal that I was so excited to eat that I'm now scared I'm gonna have to throw up, because what the actual hell is wrong with Tracy Deonn? What is wrong with this woman? I have so many questions that I know I'm not gonna get answers to. I am on chapter 48. I have this much of the book left still. I don't know if you guys could tell a difference. I've read like a little over 100 pages today, so doing pretty good if I do say so myself. But what was I saying? Oh, Nick just revealed his deal with Ava, and it was a lot to take in. I'm not confused about anything. I actually understand this, but I also don't, because why the hell would you do that? Why? I understand that his love for Bree transcends all and yada yada yada. Okay, fine. But you're telling me I have to go through this again? Again? This is literally what Bree did not want, is people dying for her. She's sick of that shit. And you're telling me that now Nick has risked his life? Mind you, Sel already risked his life for her in the previous book. How many times we're gonna have to go through this, Tracy Dion? Like, I'm sick. I'm sick and you have explaining to do. You can't keep putting my babies through this. You can't keep putting me through this. I'm so fragile right now. It's the way that Nick has already come to terms with the fact that he might die. Like, he's already come to terms with the fact that living, not as important as making sure Bree is alive. Which I, again, get it, because that's the love of his life. But also, I am annoyed. I'm angry. I'm angry. I'm so upset, and I don't know what else to say other than I'm mad that this is a thing that's happening. Because you know what? One of my friends who's also about to read this book, who has read the other two books, had a theory that Nick was gonna die in this book, and I fear she might be right. Not in this book. I have, like, again, a little over 100 pages left. I don't think it's gonna happen in this book, but from the looks of it and the way that he's already coming to terms with the fact that he is probably going to die, I think it's definitely gonna happen in the next book. And it makes me sick. It makes me sick. I'm gonna throw up. I chose the shard so Arthur couldn't choose himself. Okay, I just feel like when we come up with plans like this, we should check in with one another. Granted, by the time he made that deal with Ava, he didn't know that Bree was gonna be at the gala, so he couldn't talk to her. I also think even if Bree were around, he wouldn't have told her about this plan. No wonder why he couldn't touch her, because he was so against touching her earlier. And at first I thought it was because, like, yeah, he just wants to make sure that, like, they're both on the same page, that she remembers him when they finally do touch, and yada yada yada. This man is sick. Didn't want to touch you because I didn't know if your spirit of Arthur would transfer over. It wasn't until he found out about her ancestral stream basically being gone that he was like, fuck it, I guess we can kiss now. Oh my god, I'm sweating. I'm hot. I'm tired. And I'm still gonna finish this book today, but this is like close to being my 13th reason, maybe my 11th. I still have 100 pages to go, so I'm sure it's just gonna get worse from here. This 17-year-old boy putting his life on the line for the love of his life because the system has fucked over the kids. The kids are not all right. The kids are going through so much right now, and we're still at the fucking Gatsby house. Like, why are we still here dealing with this? I need a break. I need a full-on break, because this shit right here, no one talk to me. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm on part 4. Can you tell with every update I'm getting more exhausted? You know how I said in one of the clips before that the Order is playing checkers while Nick is playing chess? I feel like at this point in the book, Erebus is playing with all of them, and they don't even know that they're being played with. They don't even know that there's a game happening. Erebus is like 10 steps ahead of everyone, and it's freaking terrifying. This is a good villain, though, I will say. I think his dynamic with Bree is very interesting. It's something that I haven't talked about at all, even though it's like the main plot of this book is the whole deal barking between Erebus and Bree. And while I hate his guts, obviously, I think the way that he cares about her is obviously like not as a person, but as an object, because he wants to take over her power when she's dead. So he cares about her well-being, but he also sees something in her that a lot of others can't see when it comes to like her power, even herself. Like, she doesn't know what she's capable of, and he sees all of her power and wants to strengthen it, whether it be for his own benefit or his entertainment. Because at this point, I genuinely feel like he's messing with these kids just for his own entertainment. Loser. I think that the way he breaks down Bree just to build her back up into something even more powerful and dangerous and ruthless, no pun intended. He's obviously the enemy, but he's also building her up into making her like a demon fighting machine. And I know that was the bargain that was made, but because of that, their relationship is so weird to me. It's kind of reminding me of her relationship with Arthur. If Arthur were to actually teach her everything that he knows and instead of, you know, taking over her body against her will. I feel like this would have been like the closest thing Bree and Arthur would have had, but Arthur ended up being a weirdo. Who's surprised? Not me. He doesn't take her shit, but I think he also enjoys that she has fight to her. The way that she talks back to, like, I just think Erebus is a good villain. That's all. That's all I needed to say. On to part 4. They're stuck in a cave now, so let's just see. Also, the king has his crown, but he can't touch it because Morgan has to unlock it or whatever. Nick having that piece of crown in him, does that make him a Morgan? No, right? I mean, I guess so, because Morgans, their whole thing is like they can transfer the spirit of Morgan into others. The other Morgans have a piece of the crown in them, which also sounds gross. Would Nicholas count as a Morgan with that thing in him? Because if so, I guess he couldn't unlock the crown because he doesn't know the spell that Ava used. But does that even matter if he has the power to do it? I don't know. I'm interested in the line of Morgan. I'm glad that we're finally getting to know more about them because they have been mentioned since the first book. And we're just now like diving into their lore, and the whole like Morgan like B-C plot, whatever you want to call it, I'm digging it. I'm digging it so much. It's a shame that Nick has to suffer for it to actually get explained to us, but I like it. So Selwyn ran away. I feel like these last like 100 pages are about to be such a whirlwind, and I don't know if I have the capacity to do this. Apparently he ran away 3 days ago, which was like, I think the day that the gala started. So like rewind. I'm not gonna lie, the whole back and forth of time throughout this book is kind of like messing with my brain. I'm trying to like chronologically line up events from different perspectives, and it's kind of hard. But if that's correct, if he ran away 3 days ago, then that must have been on the Friday Zoe and Bree and Nick and Mariah ended up at Michael's auction gala thing. So that means that Sel has been out and about in the world looking for Bree, I presume. And now his mother has been looking for him because now she's at Bree's house. Where it makes sense. That's probably where Sel would be. Maybe not. I don't know. Can he can track her by scent. He's not a dog, but like, all right, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. I just had to get that out the way. Like, oh, okay, cool. I've been in Bree's point of view for like damn near 200 pages at this point. So the fact that like we instantly start out part 4 in Natasha's point of view. Mood switch. Brain overload. I seriously don't think I'm ever going to get through this book because I keep on updating every 5 minutes, and I'm so sorry. Bree's dad is finally involved. That's great. I seriously want to know what he thinks is going on here. What he and Alice's parents, like, what do they think is happening? At this point, she's been gone for like, what, 4 months? No contact? Neither of them any contact? I thought he'd be more frazzled. Did they mesmer him? I'm assuming the order has something to do with his nonchalance here, because it's a little bit strange to me that the first thing he says to Natasha before she even knocks on his door is, did you kick those people's asses? Those people that I work with at the shop that just so happen to come around my house to make sure I'm safe? Did you knock those people out? I like those people. You didn't have to knock them out. Sir, excuse me, what? Like, does he hear what he's saying? Does it sound normal to him? If so, that's concerning. I thought Natasha knew Edwin. I guess she didn't. I guess Faye never introduced the two, which makes sense because Faye didn't want anything to really do with like the order and have it affect her personal life. So it makes sense that she wouldn't introduce her best friend who was a part of that system to her husband. But I don't know, in some weird sick and twisted way, I thought that they did know each other. He doesn't even know this random white woman that is on his doorstep beating the people that protect him up, that he doesn't know why they are protecting him. He just knows that this random white woman came up, beat him up, is passed out in his home, and is telling him to follow her. Follow her where? Where are we going? I would love a chapter in Edwin's point of view just to know what he thinks is going on. Months without seeing your daughter. Are you not like scared? I don't know. Like, something about that just doesn't make sense. At this point, I have nothing, like, what more can I say? All right. Hi, it is so much darker now. Oh my god, can you even see me? I had to take a break. I'm so close, guys. I swear. I'm literally finishing this tonight. I've been dragging this out all day because I'm seriously terrified. I'm on chapter 55. I walked away because I got to the part where Valak found out that she broke ties with her ancestral stream, and that in turn made it easier for the Shadow King to take a part of her soul. So it's no guarantee that she can get her memory back. Great, you know? I had to like walk away before I actually started to like scream. So I took a shower, washed my hair, did a little hair care. That usually like is therapeutic for me. It helps me calm down a bit. But now I'm back to this. There's only so much left of the book that I'm just like, I don't know how this is gonna... By the way, Cell still hasn't been found yet. I'm scared that he's just gonna pop up soon and either make matters worse or better. There's no in between. So excuse me while I like quietly hyperventilate in a corner while finishing this book, but I am going to finish this book. It is going to get done because I don't want to drag this out any longer than it has to be. Ugh, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. Locking in. Let's do this. If it's one thing Bree's dad is gonna do, it's drop a bar. Always preaching. Like, okay, Pastor Matthews, he'll just show up after like 500 pages spitting straight heat. Like, all right. Okay. That whole entire Selwyn, Nick, Bree interaction, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to say, but I'm scared. I'm scared for everyone involved. And I think I'm on like the last chapter, maybe second to last. I have like a few pages left. So I just wanted to let it be known. My thoughts on that are question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't know what's going on when it comes to Selwyn or his tie to Bree and Nick, whatever that is. It's always been messy, and I guess it's gonna stay messy until the end of time. Okay, at some point my camera cut off. I don't know when, but I finished the book. I just want to know, I never stated this theory out loud, so y'all are gonna think that I'm bullshitting. I had a feeling that Selwyn was related to the Shadow King. I had a feeling. I'm gonna get my final review tomorrow when I get like a good night's rest and actually like sleep literally on this book and figure out how I feel about it. But just so you know, just so we're clear, I had this theory all the way back in like Bloodmarked because it was stated that Erebus and Natasha were very close when they were training to be Merlins, and depending on how long the Shadow King has been playing this game of waiting around and cosplaying as Erebus, it's been hinted at that he's been doing this for decades. So I just assumed if that's the case, depending on how close Cell's mom and Erebus were, if 1 + 1 = 2, but I had no idea it would get to this. Wow, my brightness is so bright. Hold on. Yeah, I had no idea that it would end like this. Kinda gagged. I'll leave you with that. She really tried to make me think Cell died. Please. Please. I had to laugh. I had to laugh. I wish I got my reaction to that on camera. I physically chuckled. Now, no one's dying in this book. The 4th book, maybe. Don't play in my face again. Okay, good night. Hello, everyone. It is the next morning, and I need to start getting ready for work. So I'm going to give this review of Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. I'm going to give it while I untwist my hair. So ignore how my hair looks. I swear it'll look fantabulous once I'm done, but that's not the point. I woke up and I immediately put my review in for this book on Storygraph, so if you want to like see my full like thoughts, probably in like a more organized fashion, you can go onto Storygraph. But I will say I gave this book a 4.5. I guess you can already tell from this vlog how much I love this book. Like, I can give Tracy Deonn her praise, her flowers, anytime, anywhere, any day, for her writing and what she does with this story, with these characters that feel so real and dimensional. And like, I could go on my soapbox and talk about how great this series is until the end of time. However, I don't have the time to do that, so I'm just going to get to the points that I loved about the book, and then I'm going to tell you why I didn't give it a full 5 at the end. Sorry, I heard noise. Don't know what that's about. Anyway, I read her author's note at the end, and she said that Oathbound wasn't a book that she was planning to make for this series, but she felt it was the book that was most needed in the series, and I couldn't agree more. I read this book knowing that it was like her addition to the series, obviously, because everyone thought that it was going to be a trilogy, and then when she extended it to 4 books, everyone was kind of like, what? Why? And Tracy Deonn we trust, so I had a feeling that this book was going to be pivotal to like not only like the story itself, but like Bree's arc as a character, and I was not disappointed. The stuff that Bree goes through in this book, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. She's just a girl. Like, oh my god. Like, I gotta be strong. The whole point of this book, in my opinion, from what I got, I'm trying to find my other twist. The point of this book, at least from what I got from it, was Bree trying to figure out who she is outside of what people want her to be. And I feel like by the end of the book, she definitely has a sense of self. She knows who she is, she knows how powerful she is without others having to tell her, without having the need to feel like she needs to be guided by someone, whether that be her ancestors or a demon king person or whatever. By the end of this book, I feel like Bree as a character is whole and complete and confident in not only like her skill set with like brute or aether or whatever, but just like confident within herself and her own judgment. And I think the characters surrounding Bree, like her group of friends, help her feel that way. Like the found family in this book, you guys know me, I love a good found family, so I was eating it up. I was eating it up the whole time. But Bree's entire arc throughout the book really was like a full circle moment that was kind of a story within itself of losing who you are, losing the foundation of that in like the most literal sense, and like, I guess, fighting to find it again without all of the tools that you had before. Like, Bree is literally starting from scratch. She's kidnapped by a demon king. She has no idea who any of the people in her life are. She doesn't really know her skill set up until like maybe, I would say, like the end of the book for real. She's starting who she is as a person from scratch, and you see her work her way up from the beginning of the book until the end to being herself and unapologetically that. And it's not to say that Bree wasn't like self-assured before. It's just the fact that after all of this pain that she's been through, you can really like only beat a dead horse like so many times before you can just like see that there's no going back. Bree, like, she's just been beaten down so many times to the point where she literally felt the need to kind of give up in the end in the second book. And to start off with someone already at their lowest, you can only go up from there. And this whole story was about Bree going up from there, literally get to her lowest in order to figure out what she wants, who she is, and her purpose here, without anyone else having to tell her otherwise. And I thought that that was really beautiful. I thought that was a really beautiful story. I do think that this addition to the Legendborn Cycle series is needed, just for Bree as a character. Again, I think that this makes her more whole and makes her story feel not deserved, but you could tell that when we get to the final book, the final battle, that this addition to the series is gonna make it more satisfying to read in the end. So yeah, that's how I feel about Bree and her story, because at the end of the day, this is her story. I know that a lot of people get mixed in with like the romance element of it all, which is fair, because I'm gonna get into the romance in a second, don't even worry. The romance part of this book is so iconic in its own like messy way. But I do want to touch on Bree's story, like her story by herself, because I think that the way Tracy Deonn wrote this book, this character, her story is just so well done. Again, I can't praise that woman enough. Excellent exploration of finding out who you are, discovering who you are outside of the people that surround you and gas you up. Like, you need to get rid of other people's like thoughts about you and just figure out who you want to be. What's your purpose? What is your soul made of? What's your drive? And I think Bree finally found that. Now let's get on to the story itself. This story, excellent. Excellent. I know I already gave my praise about the Shadow King demon man being a good villain, but I can't stress this enough because throughout the entire story, he was creeping me out. Not in the way that like Arthur was creeping me out in Bloodmark, because Arthur is a weirdo. With the Shadow King demon man, I was scared for Bree's life. And I was weirded out by him at the same time. One thing I admire about people is their patience. Like, I'm not really a patient person. I try to be, but I'm not. So the fact that this Shadow King waited centuries for Bree and is willing to wait like several years more just to enact his revenge, and he's willing to like actually be like normal and calm around her and like actually converse like a normal human being. Like, the talks that he was giving to Bree, the advice that she took from him was good advice because he genuinely, I think, wanted to help her, because at the end of the day it satisfied him. But I kept forgetting that because their conversations were so normal and honestly kind of helpful. It's like very manipulative, which again makes a really good villain, because how are you manipulating me and I'm the reader and I can see what you're doing? And yet I was like, the advice that he's giving to her is kind of solid. The fight to find Bree that all of the characters had, heartbreaking. Having to read in William's point of view, heartbreaking. Like, the amount of guilt all of these characters feel is so like amplified, especially in this book, because of the loss of Bree. They don't know where she is. They don't know where Cell is. And I think William is one of those characters that just really hit me the hardest, because you can tell that he only wants to help. He only has this need to help people, and when he fails at doing that in any way, he just like doesn't know how to process that in a way that's healthy. And I think it's interesting because he finally has someone, Lark, who is able to prioritize him. Because I'm not gonna lie, while like the other characters love William, like he's a great friend to them and so they love him, they don't really prioritize William and how he's doing enough, in my opinion. To be fair, a lot of them don't even prioritize their own feelings and their own struggles and trauma. They kind of repress it all just like William does. So I don't blame any of them, and also they're children, so it makes sense. But for William, it's just like someone needs to be in his corner. And I'm glad that Tracy wrote in a character like Lark that is able to see how much shit William holds on to and is willing to help him through that, willing to help him see when he needs to like calm down or when he needs to just like air out anything that he feels like he doesn't need to, because he tries so hard to help others that he doesn't even take in the fact that he himself is hurting half the time. Like, even when reading in his point of view, I was like, how am I reading in your point of view and you don't even bring up your own losses and the own pain you're experiencing because you're too busy prioritizing other people's pain? It's just really sad. Then I also can't talk about William without talking about Nick. Nick is another victim of this. The scene, and I know I talked about the scene, I damn near cried about the scene where like William gave a flashback of Nick telling him about all of the stuff that his demon father put him through when he was a kid, and he just said it like so calmly and then continued to be like, but this isn't about me, this is about Bree. And William's like, no, we gotta get back to that, like that's not that's not going away. And he was like, no, this is about Bree. And I'm just like, Nick, two things can be true at once. Bree could be traumatized and you could be traumatized. You're both hurting and it's okay to talk about it. I just think in general, like, this book does a really good job of highlighting the pain that all of the characters go through, and all of the characters outside of Bree having to learn, or I guess unlearn, everything they've been taught since they were kids about this thing that they've been worshiping that has also worshipped them their whole entire lives, and how this thing is now considered bad. It's like unlearning all of like the bigotry and racism that they like grew up around in their environment and how they can help Bree in that. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what to do with my bangs. I don't really know. And I think William and Nick do a good job of showing how they want to dismantle a system, but it's so hard when it's a system that they grew up in, but because it's a system that they are a part of, it is their job essentially to take it down. Like, Bree is the chosen one. It's her job to be the leader of this war, to be a king, but at the end of the day, the only way to take down the order is if strong members of the order help take it down. It's not really Bree's job. And I like that storytelling as well, because it definitely reflects real life, as most of this book does. As most of this series does. Fiction reflects reality, but also I need them in a therapy session so bad. I know that like therapy for them is limited because like they can't just tell a regular therapist that they are descendants of King Arthur and that they're having trouble coming to terms with the fact that their upbringing was unorthodox and unconventional and just very traumatic. I know that they can't go to like a regular therapist about it, but there has to be some magical therapist, kind of like Patricia is to Bree. There has to be someone they can go to about this, because I need them to like understand why none of the stuff that they went through is okay, and not just like hold it down inside, but to actually talk to someone about it. So let's add that into the next book, Tracy. Please, a therapy session with them would be lovely. On to another POV, Natasha. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right. I pronounce it Natasha, Natasia, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. I'm still gagged at the fact that we got her point of view in this book. Gagged, gooped, in shock. That's a mother. Now, I know she wasn't around for most of Selwyn's life, but that's a mother. Like, the way that she did not hesitate to handle business, she just got her son dropped off to her after like over 10 years and was like, okay, I guess this is what I'm gonna do now. We gotta fix this. We gotta fix this issue. And then she not only did that, but more in order to help solve the problem. Like, she's kind of a beast, which is why I think low key she should have been kept in her cage, because I don't think the order is ready for her. They're obviously not. Like, when she was taking down guards and stuff, I was like, oh, you are not the one to be messed with. Got it. But yeah, her addition in the story, the way that she's included into Sel's own arc, which I can't really touch on, by the way, because I don't know if you could consider what Sel went through an arc of his own, but I'll get into that in a second, I guess. Natasha's point of view is interesting because the way that she views Sel is from obviously a mother's perspective, and seeing her try to bond with her son was so heartbreaking. It was so very heartbreaking, but it was also one of my favorite parts of the book. There's nothing much I can really say about it. I would love to know where that relationship goes from there, obviously, because I think that is also a big part of this book, is Sel being able to reunite with his mom, reunite with like his whole lineage and his background, to be honest, especially after that cliffhanger, and just try to figure out who he is, whether that is human or demon, like what's inside of him. It's like a bigger thing, obviously. So I'm excited to see more of that. As for Nick, like I said, therapy, need him in therapy so bad. I understand that he cares about everyone, he loves Bree, he wants her to be happy, all of this stuff, that's great. Buddy, I need you to talk to someone. Like, seriously. He was my favorite part of this book, honestly, besides like the Bree stuff, obviously. I loved Nick in this book. I did. I think that his personality really flourished in this book, and that's sad because in this book everyone is stressed and fighting for their lives, but I think that's where his personality comes out the most, because he's very dry. I didn't know that at all. He's very dry, very witty, very funny. We got a sense of that in the first book, but I feel like in this sort of setting where he's kind of just over everything and his one goal is to be reunited with the people he loves the most, I think this is when we can finally see that he does not care. And he's willing to do anything to get those people back. Anything, even when it means like maybe putting his life on the line. The savior complex of these characters is so like, it's annoying, but also I have to keep in mind that they were literally brought up to be seen as like saviors. So it's not really a complex, it's kind of just what they grew up in their environment. Mariah is an interesting character to me because her entire arc is like looking at Bree as the chosen one. Like, out of all the characters, she views Bree as the one to make everything okay. she puts Brie on such a high pedestal, and it's interesting going from like Brie's perspective of herself to Mariah's perspective of her, because there's like two sides of the same coin, but like one in the worst way and one in the best way. And also Mariah trying to understand how she can fit into this picture of all of like these godly beings and these like 17-year-old kids, like how she can be of use, how she can be helpful as someone who's just a root crafter. Mind you, root crafters are like cool as fuck, so I was like, why are you even that like queen? Why are you doubting yourself? Anyway, seeing her character arc was so satisfying as well. Her getting in touch with her power even more and figuring out that she doesn't really need to be like a warrior in order to fight for what she believes in. Amazing storytelling, chef's kiss. I just think that this story was so good. It was long, but I didn't mind it. At first I was like concerned about the length. I was like, what could she possibly need 600 pages for? And if she does need 600 pages, does that mean I'm not making it out of this book alive? Like with every book in this series that gets longer, I get worried for my own emotional well-being. But no, this book, not Legendborn, technically, but Oathbound, was really good. The reason I gave it 4.5 stars was because the pacing of it was a little bit weird, but I think that just comes with having several perspectives in one book. Like I counted, I think in total this book had like 6 different POVs in it, and the timeline of it was kind of expedited in a way that I wasn't expecting. This book takes place over the course of like 4 or 5 months, and it just felt oddly paced at some points, especially because all of the characters are at different places at different times, and so there's a lot of jumping back and forth. Like 1 minute we're like in the start of the story where the second book ends, but then we're like 4 months later, and then it's like, well, 3 days ago, or then like 72 hours after and stuff, and it just felt a little bit choppy to me, but it didn't take me out of the story. Because I loved seeing everyone's point of views. It was just like kind of hard to follow at times, or like something I was like, oh, okay, now all of a sudden we're back from 3 months ago. That's fine. But yeah, overall I gave this book a 4.5 because I just loved it. I adored it, and now I need the 4th book immediately. Is there a date for the 4th book? Let me know, because I haven't actually looked into it. I'm hoping it doesn't take another 3 years. I'm begging, actually. I'm begging, because especially after that cliffhanger, which by the way, I still called it. I know I said it last night, but I just want to make it known that I did predict that. However, I didn't say it on camera, so you guys are going to think that I'm full of crap. But I did have that theory. Rip to Alice. Like, rip to my homegirl. Like, damn. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it. If you guys enjoyed this reading vlog, thank you. If you'd like to follow me on social media, link down in the description below. I'm still on my social media break, but if you want, you can follow me on Storygraph, because I did a buddy read on Storygraph. It was my first time doing a buddy read on Storygraph, and it was for Oathbound, and I've had a lot of fun with it. So if you like to be like mutuals on there, talk about books and stuff, you can follow me on there because I'm still active on there. And yeah, I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.